All right, Richard, go for it.
All right, well, welcome everyone. We are Team AV Combinator. And now that you've heard a little bit about who we are, we want to tell you about what we've done and what we are doing. So our original problem was presented to us by Incutel, which is the venture arm of the intelligence and defense communities. They expressed interest in our original problem statement in the autonomous industry at large, but we soon realized that that was a very broad scope. So we narrowed our focus in our new problem statement to level 4 and 5 land-based autonomous vehicles and the acceleration of their adoption into the consumer market as a prerequisite to its use by defense. So a very high-level background for AV development today. Level 4 and 5 autonomy means no human intervention is necessary, and many intelligent engineers have accounted for 90% of occurrences in a normal daily drive, but it is that last 10%, especially that last 1%, which takes 90% of the work, as they have to deal with difficult edge cases such as vision during blizzards and other unaccounted for events. And since AVs deal with human lives, 90% is just not enough for deployment, which is why we can see where AV technology lands on that hype cycle. Because after its initial enthusiasm, industry began to come across the immense challenges associated with its development. So our team, apparently like many other teams, experienced a very similar hype cycle. We started off strong, meeting with Incutel, interviewing right off the bat a bunch of players in the sphere, and talking about what we each individually hoped to gain from the course. And this led to our very first mission model canvas, which is basically our initial hypothesis and plan of execution. We put a lot of words down, but the gist of what we had at the time was that we knew we wanted to facilitate communication between policy and the industry players, however that might turn out to look. So week one, we were feeling really good. With all of our excitement in this industry, we were frankly thrilled to be talking to many of its leaders across multiple stakeholders.
However, like the AV hype cycle itself, our expectations were tempered by the reality of the situation. In fact, we came back to Earth in two distinct ways. First, in talking to so many leaders, several of whom spent more than 10 years of their career on the project, we left asking ourselves, what could we do in the 10 weeks of the Stanford quarter? And second, our initial problem statement, while short in words, was vast in scope. Incutel wanted us to study AV technology stack in both sea, land, and air applications. They literally wanted us to boil the ocean, the land, and the air above it. Thankfully, they were an incredibly gracious sponsor. When we expressed our concern, they were receptive to our focus on strictly land-based autonomy only, which has significant societal benefits, including sustainability, productivity, and safety. Armed with this focus on closing the public and private divide, and with our new problem statement, we attacked it with two different tools. The first tool was a federal tool, a report to Congress and members and their staffs. The second was a state-based tool focused on comparing human driving versus autonomous driving. But we realized that at best, this would be an interesting thought exercise, and at worst, we could waste a lot of people's time. And we wanted to make sure our output was actionable and meaningful for society. And this focus, this mission, is what accelerated our rapid ascent. But we also needed some outside help. The teaching team asked us if we could pick any subject matter expert in the world to advise us, who would it be? And without hesitation, we asked for Dr. Mark Rosekind, who was the 15th administrator of the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration and a Stanford alum to boot. He was incredibly generous at this time, and we would not be here without his mentorship and continued support. From Dr. Rosekind and our other interviews, we really focused on safety as our core deliverable. Safety is not only a core end in itself, along with productivity and sustainability, but it's the gating mechanism. Without safety, we don't get to any of these other benefits. At the same time, safety is a bit of a chicken or the egg problem. In order for legislators to make really meaningful and informed choices on safety regulation, they need data. On the other hand, in order to get that data, they have to put many of their lives at risk through experimentation. And that is simply not acceptable from a policymaking point of view. Instead, we developed the first of its kind modular safety suite. Through this safety suite, we rely on traditional safety metrics and vehicle crash testing that already exist, plus new safety metrics, new databases, and new practices. And what we do is we allow different jurisdictions to sub in and sub out different modules as they see fit to achieve their goals their needs, and their vision. And what this does is it allows us to have the uniformity of a single federal safety standard with the benefits of allowing states to practice and experiment as labs of democracy in the vision of Justice Louis Brandeis. As you can see, everything in the red is things that we've changed since our first mission model canvas. There's a lot of red on this page, which means that we've iterated and evolved our thinking in developing such a safety-focused, minimum viable product.
Thanks, Richard. After we came to consensus on a new safety-focused MVP, things really started to pick up in the last few weeks of class. We ran our modular safety suite approach by potential go-to-market partners and received incredibly positive and valuable feedback that the approach was indeed unique and value additive. Additionally, they requested that we reach back out to them once the concept was better fleshed out. Based on the feedback and additional interviews, we continue to refine the concept and finalize our core deliverables. These deliverables were to include 1, a detailed policy memo meant for policymakers, 2, a centralized website mockup to illustrate the interface, and 3, a short teaser video to simply explain our approach to the general public. However, as we continue to dive deeper into the world of AV safety, we identified established safety industry players with potentially competitive proposals to ours. While ours was still unique in its large systems approach, they were all clearly working towards the same end goal. Yet, despite the existence of these competing frameworks, we were not disheartened. Even though these established industry players were better positioned than a team of 5 Stanford students working on a class project, none of these established players had yet to gain significant traction in the space. This problem isn't just about coming up with the best approach to AV safety. It's about overcoming significant non-market challenges to convince all relevant beneficiaries with varying priorities of the value of a singular approach. The connections that we made through this class, as well as our independent and unbiased standing, could in fact be an advantage for us moving forward. Leveraging these advantages, though, would not be easy. This was now as much of a marketing and communications problem as it was a conceptual framework problem. Additionally, it was no longer one that could be achieved over the course of a single quarter. This realization forced us to think about the future of our team. We are all deeply passionate and interested in the AV space and recognize the value that our proposal could have for the lives of many. As a result, despite us all having internships or full-time offers this summer, our plan is to apply for the H4X labs and continue working together as a team to build out the MVP and forge the best marketing and comms plan in the entire space. And if successful, there might even be a unicorn startup focused on safety auditing and or certification at the end of this experience. None of this would have been possible without the incredible support and sometimes a kick in the pants from our incredible teaching team, project sponsors, and advisors. Thank you all for an incredible learning experience and quarter.
All right, congratulations team, good going. All right.